Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on the video as always. You're probably wondering where I am at the moment. I'm actually in my van. I'm here with Derek and we are halfway up Cairngorm Mountain just now. It's Friday night, it's about 8 o'clock and I'm planning a hot tent camp in Rothley Marcus at the spot that you've seen me camp at a few times, one of my favourite spots. But I just thought I would come over the night before and have a night in the van. It's been a while since I stayed in the van and it's been a very wintry week this week across the whole of the UK really. It's about -4 here at the moment and it's supposed to drop down to about -8 tonight. There's not much snow back at Loch Ness where I live, so I've basically come over to Cairngorm for the snow. And like I say, I just wanted to come over the night before and sort of enjoy having a cosy night in the van. But yeah, if you want to see us go for a hot tent camp in the snowy Pinewoods tomorrow, then stick around and I hope you enjoy the video.
Decrypted. Admiral Picard. I'm encoding this transmission with...
Morning folks, what a day. It was about -8 last night when I was in the van. More than comfortable in the van though with the heater on. It was a little bit nippy first thing this morning, but I mean the heater gets up to temperature in a few minutes, so that was no problem. I drove back down the hill to start the walk in from Rothley Marcus and it was about -4 there. But it's about 0 just now, 1 degrees. There's actually a bit of warmth in the sun and some of the snow is melting. There's not actually as much snow up here as I was hoping for. I think because it's very light, dry snow, when the sun hits it, it doesn't take much to melt it at all. But if it was like heavy, dense, wet snow, which had then frozen, you know, it would be like a big solid block and it takes longer to melt. Check the forecast and it's supposed to be about maybe -1, -2 tonight, which is not bad at all. And because there's not a huge amount of snow, it's not exactly going to be difficult to get set up and that kind of thing. But yeah, I've pretty much hiked all the way in, which you saw in the last couple clips. Nearly at the top of the hill here. I don't know if you can see Derek behind me. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, I'll just get to the top of the hill, going to the same camp spot as last time I was here, because it was just pretty ideal, to be honest. And we'll get set up, and I'll probably get a coffee on pretty soon too. Right, I was going to mess about and make a coffee first, but I think I'm just going to get set up instead. I've had some Haribo, so that'll keep me going. I've cut a stick for the teepee, because again it's the tent where the centre pole broke, and I just cut a stick last time and it worked quite well. One thing that's nice about cutting a stick is you can cut it so there's like, you know, notches and limbs coming off, so it's quite good for hanging stuff off when it's inside. So yeah, there's not a huge amount of snow, but I'm going to clear some of it away, just because you'll be constantly tracking it in and out of the tent. There's obviously not going to get rid of all of it, but it just helps a little bit. What is it? Oh, I know. So the way I've learned to do this teepee tent is basically peg out two opposite corners in a straight line, then put the centre pole in, and then peg out round about it. I found like if I try and peg it down beforehand, it's either too tight, you know, to put the centre pole up properly, or obviously if you try and put this in first, it's just all over the place. Another little tip, it's not my idea, I picked it up somewhere, but just half of a tennis ball just sits on the top, and it stops the stick from bursting through the top of the tent. Right, that's the tent all set up. Didn't take long at all. For those who haven't watched my videos before, the wood stove I use is the Pomoly. Is it Pomoly? Pomoly? I don't know how you say it. It's the Traveller. It's a fixed body stove, as in, you know, it doesn't collapse flat. And I purposely got it that way because I had a collapsible one and it was okay, but I just feel more confident in this stove. It's titanium, it's really light, so it's a little awkward to carry because obviously it's just a big rectangle, but it's very light, so it's not that bad at all. Comes with fixed pipe sections rather than the aluminium kind of roll up chimney, which again I can understand that lets you have a very lightweight packable stove, but they are a pain in the ass. They're so easy to damage, and they kind of get little kinks in them and holes develop. Like this is so much simpler. You just take it out, sections together, that's it, job done. It's foldable legs on it, so you just fold them out, stick all the chimney sections on, and it's ready in about 5 minutes. So that is the wood stove in. The feet have holes in them so you can peg it down. So I normally put a peg this corner and a peg at the opposite back corner. Just helps the stability. The tent has a built-in stove jack. You just lift up the flap, and this is fire retardant material, and that's it. You can guy the stove out if you want. There's little clips that clip on here, and you just guy it out to a tree, whatever. Right guys, I've just been putting a few bits and pieces in the tent. I'm gonna go and sit down and make a coffee and something to eat in a minute, but I just wanted to show you what I've put in the tent so far, because I feel like we all watch a lot of these videos and we're all kind of thinking like, what does he actually take? And sometimes I think, he must be taking so much gear. How heavy is all that? And, so I'm just trying to be a bit transparent in this video. So like I say, I'm prepared for -2, maybe a bit colder. But I'll take you inside just now and show you what I have laid out. So we've got the one Tigris tent. We've got the Pomoly stove. For Derek, I've just got a wax canvas just ground sheet that I normally put down. Then we've got the climate inflatable bed, and then this is just a cover that goes on. These are all very light things to carry. Like I say, this is just inflatable, folds up to nothing. And then we've got the new Bark and Ride sleeping bag. So he's going to be very cozy in that. He's off the ground, he's insulated, and obviously we're going to have the stove. I normally put this is just a cheap footprint mat down, and then I've got the Robins like the foldable mat, which has, I think it's an R value of 2, so I'm going to have a thermarest on top of that, but it just helps a little bit to keep you insulated from the ground. So that's what I've got in so far. I'll show you more later on as I sort of set up, but yeah, I'm going to just use a little alcohol stove just now to make a coffee. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with a fire just now. It's actually quite warm in the sun. It's nice today. So yeah, I'll just make a quick coffee on the Xboil stove, which I've showed you before. Little titanium alcohol stove. Again, another lightweight bit of kit, and I've got a titanium mug as well. And I'll probably just have some noodles or something too. Now, I know everyone was blown away by the quality of the spatula I made in the last video, but we're back to the metal sport today. Yeah, you need to ration that kind of quality, you know. I can't be making those kind of things every video, so maybe in the future, if you're nice. Collecting some firewood. I've said before, there's not a huge amount of sort of accessible firewood in these places. I don't really want to be cutting stuff down, even if it's dead. So I basically just walked a big perimeter around the camp and just collected a load of dead branches that have fallen off the trees. So yes, a lot of this is kind of lying on the ground, but not right on the ground, so a lot of it is like very dry, and it'll be good to burn. There's quite a bit of resin in it as well. I'm just processing this firewood, and I wanted to have a little bit of a rant. I know it's not even forest thoughts yet and I'm ranting, but there seems to be an attitude in the UK that people should almost be scared of places like this, you know, in terms of not touching anything, you know, not disturbing anything. And I agree with that to a point, but until we educate people on what this actually is and how to behave responsibly in them, people won't come out and have this kind of experience. And it doesn't take many trips like these for most people before they just kind of feel the magic of the forest, if you want to call it that. And once people experience this and they understand it, they want more of this. You know, then they really want to protect it. They understand what they're protecting. And I feel like we've got such a big disconnect in this country that if more people reconnected and experienced this, there'd be more public pressure to create more of this. But I always make a point in my videos of trying to explain what I'm doing, you know, because a lot of people, and again it's because of the disconnect, you say you're going to go to the national park and it's winter and you're going to have a fire to keep warm. Straight away people assume, right, you're going to go in there with a massive axe, a massive saw, just start hacking things down, making a mess. And it doesn't have to be that way. Because I feel like there's a disconnect on both sides, the people wanting to do it and the people judging the people who want to do it. You know, I've got a load of firewood here. I haven't cut any trees down. I haven't even used an axe. I've brought a wood stove specifically because it's more efficient and I'm not having a big open fire, you know, on the ground. There's loads of ways and means to, you know, come out here, have a full camping experience, but be responsible and respectful of where you are. comfortable. Go on. Yeah, so in terms of my sleep system, you've seen the lightweight footprint. I've got the Robins foldable mat. I've got my inflatable Thermarest mat, and then I've just got my Snug Pack Softy Elite 3 sleeping bag, and that's got the Summit, Sea Summit, I think it's thermo reactor sleeping bag liner. This bag has a comfort rating of -5. The sleeping bag liner helps that a little bit too. It shouldn't be getting that cold tonight anyway, but I've had it out you know, colder than that, and with the wood stove as well, going to be more than comfortable. So this sleeping bag, the liner, my sleeping pad, the inflatable one, sorry, Derek's inflatable bed and his sleeping bag, that all fits in the bottom section of my Osprey backpack. And then the Robins foldable mat, as you've seen, just straps on to the back of the backpack, and that's it. That's our whole 2 sleep systems. We've had that sleep system out in -10 and we've been okay. So for winter camping, and you know, a decent sized dog, it's a relatively compact sleep system. But I'm going to take this bag out, get it nice and fluffed up for tonight. So just having a wander and came across something interesting. There's an obvious patch here with very little snow. It must be a little sun trap, and it's all melted. And look what's right in the middle of it. A wood ant's nest. So they know exactly the best place to build their nest to get the most heat from the sun. A few feet that way, snow. A few feet up the hill, and there's snow. But right here is just the ideal spot. So this is another thing I always take with me, fire kit. I've just got various different fire lighters, homemade stuff, bag of dry tinder, some cotton pads. I'm going to use that at the moment, just homemade wax cotton pad. I've got matches and yeah, just all sorts of different things just in case I'm struggling to light a fire naturally. For the wood stove, I'm not really messing about. I've just loaded it full of thin dry twigs, and I'll just light this and hopefully it'll just take off easy enough. Right guys, the stove's on. It's getting pretty toasty in here now, as you can probably tell by my red face. It's just before 7 o'clock, so it's getting pretty dark outside now. I think I'm probably gonna cook up dinner soon. In terms of what was in the rest of my bag, I'm trying to think what was left to tell you. I got a small wash kit, a small first aid kit. I took my Rab puffy jacket, which compresses down to almost nothing. I've got a small bag with just a spare t-shirt and some thick socks just in case. That's kind of it, really. I never really do water filters. You saw my 2 water containers earlier. That's kind of it. So yeah, I guess it's a relatively compact, lightweight setup for winter, to be honest. I see some guys on and girls on Instagram, and they don't even have a dog either, and they're kind of going out with 120 litre rucksacks. I'm not really sure what they're taking. Mine's a 70 litre, and to be honest, I could probably get away with maybe 60. 50's maybe pushing it with, with all the dog stuff. But anyway, each to their own. Got some Jura with me this week. Jura red wine cask, I think it's called. I had some last weekend. We were over on the west coast doing the woodcutters weekend again. Yeah, and I had a taste of it there, and it's nice. Right, so I've just fried up some diced potato here. I'm actually going to transfer it to this pot, I think, so I can cook the steak. Try not to spill it all. We've got the potatoes as well. That looks like a good meal to me. The steak is a little bit overdone. It's still tasty. Right, I'm going to finish this dinner and I'll bring you back in a bit. Well, it's actually nearly 11 o'clock. I haven't really done much this evening, just finished dinner about 8:30. Just sitting here having a bit of whiskey. The wind has really picked up, getting quite relentless at times. I don't know how much of a night we're going to have. The attic seems pretty settled at the moment. It's more kind of up in the tops rather than around the tent, but we'll see. There's been some light rain as well, so it's definitely milder than was forecast. It must be, you know, plus 1 or 2 degrees. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we'll be fine, and we'll just catch you in the morning. Morning folks, just having my coffee. Had an okay night. The wind was pretty fierce until about 2 o'clock though, which the noise doesn't really bother me at all. It's more the fact that I'm in a tent that's not the most aerodynamic, and there's a metal box of burning wood inside it. Just keeps you on edge a little bit, but turned out it wasn't an issue at all. But you just, I don't know, there's something in the back of your mind. The wind, I think it was kind of in the tops of the trees more than round about the tent, but it just sounded so loud I was just a little bit like concerned. But yeah, we were fine in the end. Had a little bit of an issue with condensation in here as well, just the kind of bottom third of the tent, especially when the wood stove sort of dropped off, you know, and it's not so hot in here. Yeah, condensation kind of dripping on things if they're tucked into the edge. This tent is it's okay, but yeah, the ventilation isn't good. The more recent One Tigris tents, they've rectified that, and they've put a little bar you can sort of wedge in between the vents to keep them open. This tent doesn't have that, and yeah, so it suffers, especially if you've got it all zipped down and airtight, because it's cold obviously. My square sausages got a bit squashed in my bag, I think, and then I think they might have froze and defrosted a little bit again in the night, so they've gone a bit mushy. Right guys, it's just after 10:30. Had a really good breakfast, some coffee as well. Derek's had a good run around chasing the ball. Yeah, and we're pretty much packed up apart from the tent. I think I'm going to call it there. It's definitely milder today. It's about 4 or 5 degrees now. You can feel the snow's kind of getting sort of wet and heavy. And there is actually rain forecast for about 1 o'clock this afternoon, so I'd rather just get packed up and get out of here, to be honest. But before I go, and this always makes me feel a little bit awkward, but a couple of people have asked about how to sort of support the channel and the videos, and actually a handful of people already have, which I'm really grateful for, and kind of blows my mind a little bit that people would want to part with their own money, to sort of support something like this. But yeah, I'm definitely not asking for money, but it does help with fuel costs and that kind of thing, and helps me to keep doing these things. But yeah, there's a load of links below in the description. There's also the super thanks option now on YouTube as well, so if that's something you want to do, then like I say, I really appreciate it, but I'm definitely not asking for money. Yeah, I guess I feel like this video kind of concludes the winter season, I think. We'll probably get a dusting of snow a couple times yet. We normally do. I mean, it's only the first half of March, but in terms of sort of sustained cold temperatures and snow and being able to get out camping in it, I feel like this probably could be the last opportunity. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for sticking with the channel through the winter season. Had a few good trips. Didn't really get a lot of the weather that I was hoping for, but that's the nature of living in Scotland, I guess. But by now you know the drill, so if you want to stick around for Forest Thoughts, please do. I've got some more good news to talk to you about. I know I'm on a roll at the moment, and a couple other things too. So yeah, if you stick around, I'll see you in a couple of minutes, but if not, I will see you on the next video. Hi folks, thanks for sticking around for Forest Thoughts again. The first thing I wanted to talk about today is I'll take you back to the Rewild podcast that I talked about a couple of videos ago. The second episode is out at the moment, and it's called Sea Wilding, and it's about a restoration project over on the west coast of Scotland. And I feel like awareness for what's missing on the land is growing. It's moving in the right direction, but in terms of the sea, I don't think most people really have a clue what's going on, and I would include myself in that. So I did actually listen to the episode, and it was very interesting and heartening to hear what was going on down there. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is the Archaig Landscape Restoration Partnership. Now the Archaig Landscape Restoration Partnership is made up of the Archaig Community Woodland, Achnacarry Estate, which is a private estate, and the Woodland Trust. And they've just been awarded 1.25 million over the next 3 years to basically take on another landscape scale restoration project. Now, the name Archaig basically comes from Loch Archaig, which is just northwest of Fort William. They've got loads of stuff going on there. They've got some of the biggest Caledonian Pinewood remnants. They've got ospreys. They've got a tree nursery down there. Loads of good stuff. So this funding basically helps to cement that partnership and, you know, the future of the work for the next 3 years. And the Arcade Community Forest, which is part of that partnership, is a success story in itself. The Woodland Trust owns some ground around Arcade, and with their help the Arcade community basically bought up land to manage and restore for the community and, you know, the wider public. Some of that land was ex Forestry Land Scotland land as well, that there wasn't much really happening. It was kind of undermanaged, it was a little bit awkward, but it works well for the community group and sort of links into that wider sort of landscape scale restoration. So yeah, another positive project, you know, kind of in the same lines as the Kengor Connect project, and this is the sort of scale that we need. You know, landowners working in isolation can sometimes work to a point, but we really need more joined up thinking, you know, sharing resources, managing deer numbers over, you know, much wider areas for, you know, a much wider range of objectives. So I'll put the link in the description to the project and a few bits and pieces. I'll put the link to the sea wilding episode as well. Yeah, thanks again for sticking around and listening, and I will see you on the next video.